Hey, Free Mind, you crazy for this. Soulful. It's like our responsibility to make us feel something. You know, to make people feel what we feeling. Hey, yo.
Reggie here, and I want to welcome you to another one of my live streams. This is the Comics Today show, a show that we do on Wednesday to celebrate the best day of the week, that being New Comic Book Day. And as part of this, I'm going to be going to the chat momentarily to find out what it is that you all may have picked up at your LCSs earlier today. And I want to know if you picked up some good stuff, what LCS you snagged those books from. If you read something that was awesome that we should put on the top of our reading stacks, I want to know that. And if you picked up a book that is not a new book, but is a new to you book, we want to know about that so we can celebrate your wins. I will tell you that I have been on a little bit of a shopping spree myself. I did not buy very many comics at all in last year, but I've been doing some damage this year. Prices are in a really good place, and I've been picking up some awesome stuff that you guys will probably see in some hauls at some point in the next couple of weeks. I have a few things that I'm still waiting on, but coming soon. So we will go to the chat here. I want to see what it is that you guys may have picked up. But one of the other cool things about this show is that we typically have a guest or two on to help me to make sense of something that is happening in the world of comics and collectibles. And tonight we are going to talk about a topic that might be the future of comic book collecting. I know a lot of you are here in the room trying to figure out why I chose to put the Scarlet Witch up on the thumbnail. And the answer, of course, would be that the Scarlet Witch is one of few characters that can actually tell the future. Thumbnail, the future of comics, Scarlet Witch, it all comes together. Yes, we have made some magic happen. So I definitely want to thank everybody that's hanging out tonight. I will tell you, I forgot to draw the name for the short box giveaway. I think I'm supposed to be doing that this week. If I check my notes after the show wraps up, and I was supposed to do the short box winner, and of course I won't be doing it, I will potentially announce it on Instagram a little bit later tonight. And this is a credit that we give away of $100 simply for watching a video, leaving a substantive comment behind. I randomly pick a person from that video that I tell you about, and then we give that person $100 credit for anything that they want to buy on short box. Speaking of short box, I'm going to be at their con May 7th in California. If you have not picked up tickets, I definitely encourage you guys to do so. You can probably head over to shortbox.com to get all the details there. And then earlier this week, I released a video in which I ran down the 10 most popular issues on the Shortbox app. And there was also a little bit of a data nugget embedded into that video. If you have not seen that video earlier this week, I definitely want to encourage you guys to check that video out. I think it was a good one. So let me look at the chat real quick to see what it is that you guys may have picked up, if anybody's shouting that out. And if not, I will make a little bit of a PSA announcement. I picked up a great comic book community, and there you go. You didn't pick up a comic, but you picked up the comic book community, Seth. Nothing wrong with that. Brouhaha, it is good to see your name in the comment section, brother. Welcome. Cali Comics, how you doing, brother? It is good to see you. Scrolling down through the comments. Frog Brawler's up in here. How you, brother? How you doing, brother? It is good to see you. I'm laughing at this. I didn't know where this comment was going to go. I have a feeling, Philtastic, that Doug did not tell you all the secrets that is isolation, but well done. Well done. You had me going there for a second. Scrolling through Rush, my Canadian brother, at a con this weekend, Batman 200, X-Men 24, Silver Surfer 15, all very high grade. And those are not new books, but they are new to you books. And that is awesome. Glad to hear that you had a good con there. Herman, how you doing, brother? Picked up some number ones today. The new Superman #1, Blue Book 1, Immortal X-Men 1, Nightcrawlers 1, a couple of other really cool things. That's what's up, Herman. Sounds like you had a good LCS run today. Mark, my other Canadian brother, no truck today, but did pick up Foom 14. That's what's up. There is somebody selling some comics and they had the Foom with the X-Men appearance in it. I immediately sent them a message and was like, hey, I would like to buy that book from you. Hopefully I will be able to add that one to the collection. Got a personal grail, says Philtastic. Darth Vader #1. That's what's up. That's a cool cover. That's a cool cover. Congrats, brother. Trev, the shipping guru. How you doing, brother? It is good to see you. Trev picked up some good stuff. Superman, World's Finest, Immortal X-Men, Something is Killing the Children, etc., etc. That's what's up. Brendan, how you doing, brother? Picked up my Thor from Jason Aaron. That's a good run. You picked up the omnibus, but that's a good read. I will tell you that. That is a good read. If somebody hasn't read that, I recommend it. I recommend it. It's a good one. Adam, how you doing, brother? It's good to see you up in here. Picked up a near mint Green Lantern 49 and a 9.6 custom label supervillain team up issue #6, says DJT. That's what's up. DJ's in the house. Scrolling through, seeing what else you guys may have picked up. Spent $91 at the LCS today. Indie was big this week. Cali Comics, I'm going to go out on a limb and say that your LCS owner loves you. I'm just going to go out on the limb and put it out there. Gunny all the way from the Philippines. Welcome to you, Gunny. It is good to see you up in here. Thank you for hanging out with us tonight. I know it is hard to find. As soon as I saw it in the thing, it was like, everything must go. And I was like, including that Foom. I shall inquire about that. So fingers crossed that I can actually snag some books. They had a couple of really awesome Silver Age DC books in there. Then that Foom caught my eye and I was like, hey, let's try to do it. So fingers crossed. Was crazy reading a Superman book that I like, says Frog Brawler. There you go. New Barbaric, Vox, Owen, how you doing, brother? James Tyon's new blue book, Something is Killing the Children, previews and preview. Sorry, I read that as one word, one title there. Vox, it is good to see you, brother. Scrolling through. There you go. I was scrolling through some of the comments. All right, so what I want to hit you guys with real quick. Mr. E said he picked up, what is that, Green Lantern Blackest Night omnibus. I don't own a single omnibus, I will tell you that. So I want to do a little bit of a PSA here real quick. I want to play this, and I think you guys will be able to hear this thing, but I want to ask one of the blue wrenches. I saw Tina. I haven't seen another blue wrench, but let me know if you guys can actually hear this thing play, because I want you guys to hear what he has to say here. I might need to turn
there
the
are
volume
some
on.
fraudulent CGC books out there right now migrating their way from the Northwest. We're seeing very high level photocopies of covers and interiors. Check out this Captain America Comics cover and the interior to it, as well as this photocopied version of Spider-Man 1 and Hulk 1. This is not just somebody who doesn't know about comics, but somebody who understands the industry very well. These books are even being resealed in the holder. Take a look at this. See that slight bowing in the plastic? Make sure you check your labels carefully. If the coloring looks off, if the text looks off, if it doesn't feel right, take that extra time outside of just what you see, but examine that holder and that label carefully. Is it time for CGC to fabricate a new holder that's going to be more difficult to duplicate than they have now?
I tried to time it right to cut him off. I don't know if that I was successful. Hide your kids. That is a video that I saw early morning a few days ago. I sent Jeff, Golden Age Guru, a message. I was like, bro, can we talk? I called him on the phone. We had a good conversation because I wanted to better understand what was happening a little bit. And we spent a little bit of time on the phone talking about it. So he is basically alerting people to an evolution of a scam. This is an evolution of a scam. And we've seen bits and pieces of this before, but it's getting even more sophisticated than it was before. So fake books have been out there. I think it was about a year and a half ago that we started to see some really high grade, high quality replications. They were basically photocopy replications of original comics. And what was great about them, if you will, is that if you touched one of the books, you could tell that it wasn't real because the paper didn't necessarily feel right. You know what I'm saying? Like they were actually artificially aging the comics and using sometimes even original comic book paper to recreate a fake comic. But there was something about how the paper felt in some cases where you could detect that it wasn't quite real. Something didn't quite sit right. But what they're doing now is they are evolving, and they're basically placing their fake comics in CGC cases. So I don't know the whole story, right? Because my big thing with Jeff is, do we think that they are faking the case and we think that the case is real, probably cracking it open, sliding in their fake book and resealing it, which is why at the end of that video you saw a little bit of bowing with the acrylic, because it was probably heated up and resealed back down, and the acrylic kind of gave way. The challenge with them being inside the case is that you can't touch the books, you cannot feel them, you cannot count the pages and see how things line up on the inside. By putting it in a case, it makes it a little bit more difficult to detect what's going on. The other part is that they seem to be using actual census data, graders notes, to match the fake comic to the actual CGC number. So when you go and actually look it up in the system and you see these defects listed, they are making the book look like that book with those defects. That's what makes this thing a little tricky. And I do believe the person or people behind this seem to be located in the Pacific Northwest. And I asked Jeff, like, how do you know that? And it seems like these people have been doing some face-to-face deals in that area. There have been a couple of shops, actual shop owners, that have been hit with this scam. And I think that there's even some video surveillance footage of maybe the person. And I say people because potentially they have some different fake names that they're using, different profiles where they're offering these books up. Jeff, I think, did a really good job of putting his hand up and saying, hey, be aware of what is actually happening out there. Something that we've always spoken about here on the channel is that if there is money involved, there are going to be bad actors that are going to attempt to separate you from your hard-earned cash. So a little bit of a PSA. I wanted everybody to kind of be aware of that. And will CGC do something different? I don't know. Will we see this happen to CBCS? Who knows? Potentially not, right? But time will tell. But at least be aware that this is out there happening. All right. So wanted to do that. Let me go to the chat real quick. Deuces boy, what is it? Finally catching alive. I survived. I survived Ant-Man CGC Mania. I'm sorry, CGI Mania, my bad. Deuces boy, does that mean that you did not like the movie? Because I've heard some really good feedback from this thing. People taking the tattoos out of Cheap Tats book and putting them back in ASM 238, had them removed. Yeah, man, lots of shady stuff, man. Lots of shady stuff. I actually had a conversation with somebody recently, and they were like, yeah, I pay extra money for white pages. They're like, I love white pages. And I asked this person, did you know that they actually have a technique now where they can artificially whiten pages? And the person was not aware of that. There is all kinds of crazy stuff that is happening out there, and like artificially whitening pages is one of the newer things. I think it's been around for a while, but I'm actually starting to see it probably for the last 6 to 8 months just appear on Instagram. People are like, hey, this is how you do it, using UV light, using what is that? Not alcohol. There's another wound cleaning hydrogen peroxide solution. I think it's like 3% solution. You spray it on, you do some crazy stuff. I haven't dug into it all that much, but there is a lot of stuff that is happening out there. And I say this so that we can all be aware of what's out there. We can all do our research. We can all decide where we want to draw the line, and also how best to protect ourselves against some of the stuff that is actually happening. So enough about that. I want to get off that horse right now. It's hard times right now. People are going to scam like never before. Man, people were, brother, this lighter style. People will scam you no matter what. I mean, I fell for a scam back in 2018-ish for an Amazing Fantasy 15. I almost got caught. And just this week, I know somebody that was actually burned as well. And again, it happens. And I think we all have to make sure that we're not ignoring the red flags, that we are not getting greedy, and that we are not listening to that inner voice or that gut feeling or whatever, however you want to characterize it. I think a lot of times when we get caught, it's because we have chosen to ignore certain things that we observe. And I think slowing down and paying attention and recognizing that not everybody is in this community. And I think that's an important thing. Somebody asked me the other day, how do we get the bad people out of the community? Well, first of all, they're not in the community. First of all, let's be honest about that. They're not. They're an outside influence that is trying to infiltrate the community. They are not part of the community. And I think it's incumbent upon each one of us to ensure that we are individually strong and collectively strong by sharing the knowledge, sharing the information. All right. I keep saying I'm going to get off of this, but then you guys keep talking. All right. So the future is now. Maybe, I don't know. In the book, the Guide to Smart Comic Collecting, we spent a lot of time in this guide talking about various things, various ways to invest, various ways to speculate, various ways to collect. One of the things that we talk about here in a short section of a chapter is NFTs, non-fungible tokens. And this is something that I started talking about in the summer last year. I think I was one of the first people to start as a comic book YouTuber talking about NFTs. And I've talked about it off and on. And I wanted to bring a guest on to maybe help me to talk about this with a little bit more specificity, maybe a little bit more depth than what I'm able to bring to the table. And I'm going to pepper this person with all kinds of questions. That is my goal. So I want to welcome to the channel a buddy by the name of Sean. Sean, it is good to see you, brother. How are you? We cannot hear you. You are on mute. There we go.
There we go. Hey, Reggie.
You don't have to mute yourself, brother. I can control all of that.
It's so good to see you. Thanks for having me on.
It is good to see you, Sean. How are things?
Great.
So you run a podcast, and I think the name is right behind you, Comics and Crypto. It's a podcast. Yeah. Is that correct?
Yeah. That's correct.
All right. So I don't want to assume that I know anything about this podcast, but I think it's safe for me to assume that it's about comics and crypto. And I will tell you, at first glance, these two things don't necessarily belong together, but they do, right? And I want you to talk for a moment about the podcast and specifically this intersection of comics and crypto. How do those two things meet?
Yeah, absolutely. I want to start by saying shout out to Kevin and Spencer, my co-hosts of the podcast. And I met Spencer about 4 or 5 years ago, and he taught me a lot about Web3, NFTs and crypto. And I was teaching him a lot about investing in comic books, because I'm a huge physical collector. I've been involved in physical collectibles probably 20 years. And I was teaching him about comic books, and he was teaching me about NFTs and crypto. And we came across an application called veve, which sells licensed digital collectibles for some of the biggest brands in the world, including Marvel and Disney exclusively. And they sell digital assets on there, and we can probably dive into that in a second.
So the podcast is the three of you getting together to talk about comics, crypto, individually, separately, together, like veve, all that kind of stuff.
Sure. So we talk about everything: physical collectibles, digital collectibles, but most importantly, we are really passionate about bridging the two spaces, because we really believe that both spaces have a deep connection. And we're starting to see that a lot with the community that we're involved with on Web3. And they're getting really excited about physical collectibles, and they were never collectors ever in their life, which is really special.
Yeah, I think there was somebody from your community here in the chat a second ago, and it was like, I'm new to this, but I saw the ooze thing that you What is that?
So that represents OMI, which is basically the cryptocurrency token that fuels veve.
Okay.
Well, they use gems on the app, but OMI is basically the cryptocurrency that's run by COMI, and COMI is the parent company of veve. And the red circle represents basically the veve community.
Because I see that thing and I'm like, I don't quite know what it is, but I know it's veve. Yeah. That's the one thing that I know about that. So you just said a lot there. You said something about tokens, about cryptocurrency, about veve as a platform. Sean, there are a lot of people that don't understand anything that you just said there, right? So can you take a moment and give us the 30-second overview of what is an NFT, right?
Sure.
Let's start with what an NFT actually is first.
Yeah, an NFT is basically a digital asset that has an independent serial number, and you can't duplicate this asset. A good example, a good comparison I like to make is imagine like Hulk 181. There's 138 copies on the CGC census, and let's just imagine they're all white pages. Well, they're all the same, right? They're identical in grade, but what differentiates them is that certificate, that graded certificate, the certificate number by CGC. So that helps identify each individual graded comic. And it's very similar to these NFTs, these digital collectibles. They each have their own independent serial number, which can't be duplicated, and it's on the blockchain.
Yep. So there's a reason to some degree or another why I started with the fraudulent claim at the beginning, right? Because non-fungible token, the idea is that this is not something that can be easily replicated, if at all, right? That's what non-fungible essentially means, right? And so you tied it right back to comics, which I think is a really good move. Talk a little bit about what is it that makes this a digital asset? Like, I mean, just help me to understand what is the digital asset, if you will.
Sure. So if we look at Comixology, for example, you can go on Comixology and you can, get a comic. If you have a monthly fee, you can get as many as you want. You can't sell these comics though, unfortunately, on the app. That's what NFTs allow you to do. You can sell your individual assets, buy, sell, and even in the future, trade them. On some platforms, you can trade them. And in veve, I hope in the future, you're going to be able to trade them. They've talked about it quite a bit in the past. But yeah, it's just an incredible opportunity to collect worldwide, especially accessibility is really big because you can buy, sell, and trade these instantly around the world, which is a really big deal because I have friends in certain parts of the world, they have corrupt mailing systems and I can't mail them anything, but I can send them these digital comics that they can enjoy. It's really exciting.
So one of the things, and you correct me if I'm wrong, that makes an NFT attractive. Well, there are several things, right? One, it's a digital asset. Two, it can't be easily replicated. And so it's kind of unique. They're also limited in nature, right? I mean, when they release these, they release certain types of them, similar to comics, right? It's like you have a rare, a super rare, but then you also have the commons, right? Talk a little bit about the limits that they place on the NFTs that are issued by Marvel or Disney or by whomever.
So Marvel started off releasing with 3 different comics. The first one that was released was Marvel Comics #1. And as we all know, that's an incredibly scarce physical comic. There's less than 70 copies on the CGC census. And they released 60,000 total editions, digital comics on the app, which across 5 different variants. There's a common, uncommon, ultra rare, a rare, ultra rare, and secret rare. And the secret rare is the most scarce. It has only 600 total editions. And then based on the variant, it'll have more editions. Now, what's really exciting and interesting lately for the rare and ultra rare, they've done unique original covers that are only seen on the veve app by artists. So you only can get them in digital format, which is really exciting for a lot of collectors.
What's interesting is I actually own one of those.
Oh yeah, which one?
The probably the common, brother. Don't give me the line. I didn't know you were going to bring that up, so I wasn't prepared to tell you which one. But I do have Marvel Comics. I started buying some veve stuff. I want to say it was a while ago, and I started buying it because I wanted to understand. I have a common one. But yeah, legitly, somebody said on the social media the other day that I was a veve hater. They said it was a veve hater. I find it hard to believe that I hate something when I own some of those things. But essentially what you have is you have a limited release, if you will, right? They're not going to recreate these, but it gives people, to your point, the ability around the world to access these things despite whatever their country's infrastructure might be. You touched on something really interesting here a second ago. You may mention that you can't send comics to friends in other countries that have bad mail systems. So talk a little bit about what it is that some of these comic NFTs happen to be, because I don't know that people understand the significance of what you just hit on a second ago.
So what can you do with them exactly? Or
what are they? How do they show up? Right.
So there's 2 different ways you can actually read the comic. There's one, you can read it within the app, very similar to Comixology, or you can use augmented reality. which is really exciting. Now you can actually tilt your comic and you can read it and you can touch the pages and it'll actually turn the page one at a time in augmented reality. And the biggest thing right now is it's difficult to really process this because you're just using your phone and it's kind of seeing it. But as the technology advances, and especially when augmented reality glasses emerge, I mean, they're already ready. They're light years ahead. Yeah.
So what you're describing is this, like, it is literally a comic that somebody can read and somebody can flip through. I mean, it's all kinds of other stuff there. I don't know what that lightsaber thing was. I don't do that kind of stuff. But it literally is a digital recreation of the comic. And people, you can literally read it, which I think is kind of cool, because I think potentially when people think of NFTs, they think of it just as a digital flat file, a digital trading card, but it's not. These things are kind of interactive, if you will. And to your point, this augmented reality, I don't know if whose driveway that is, or whose living room that is, but that's Spider-Man in somebody's living room, right? Talk a little bit about that cool aspect, if you will, of this video that you shot and sent over to me.
It's stunning. It's absolutely stunning, the quality of these digital collectibles. And I like to call them digital collectibles, not necessarily NFTs. The NFTs have a certain feeling towards them, but digital collectibles, these are such high quality. The closer you get to the comic books too, I mean, it looks phenomenal. It looks absolutely phenomenal. And
keep going. No, keep going.
The way people feel about these, the excitement they have, the passion, is just, the past year and a half, I've had a chance to get to know the veve community really well. And most of them were never collectors in their life. They've never collected anything. They've never invested in this space, which is the reason why we started our podcast, because we wanted to help educate people the significance of this IP, especially when they started dropping Marvel comics. We wanted to help people understand like what comics are some of the most important grails, which are one of the biggest keys. And it's been phenomenal. People have really caught on quick, but they are really passionate in general about collecting now. And now they're going to Comic-Con shows. I talked to this individual recently at a Comic-Con show. He said, Sean, I am 55 years old. I've never once bought a comic in my life. Now I own 10 grails. He spent over 100K on physical grails, and he's excited about collecting the space. And it's all because he started in the digital collecting space.
So what I'm hearing you say is that there are people that are maybe buying digital collectibles, using your words, on veve because they like cryptocurrency, they like NFTs, they like investing in digital things, but that interest is spilling over into these same people buying physical copies of these comics as well. Is that what I'm hearing you say? Part one. Part two, are they reading them or are they just investing in them? No wrong answer there. I'm just curious.
I think it's a mixture of both. You know, it's just like physical comics. You know, we get our comics graded, and the older ones, a lot of people, they just invest in the comics. They don't read them either. But a lot of them, but the thing about these digital collectibles, you can read them. Yeah. You know, that's what's incredible about them. And the value, that since they're all essentially the same digital collectible, there's no differentiation in value as far as on the surface. The mint numbers, people have put tremendous value on the mint numbers. The lower mint numbers are more valuable, and also special mint numbers, like connected to publishing years. So like a mint number 1961 for Fantastic Four #1 is incredibly valuable to this community because it represents the year that Marvel Fantastic Four #1 was released. And that's essentially a 1-of-1 NFT.
And the mint number is basically its unique. Well, is it your unique identifying number, or is that what it is? Okay.
That's correct. Yes.
And so that mint number is based upon what? Is that giving you the run size, or is that just a unique identifier that is part of the blockchain that allows it to be identified easily? Like, translate that for me.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So basically you have its one total edition run, and each NFT has its own individual number based on the total edition run. So 1 to 20,000. Like, here's an example up here. We have a Luke Skywalker lightsaber, which you can use in AR.
You have an isolation cover back there.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
That's all I see back there. Okay. That's all I see. All right. I'm listening to you now. Lightsaber, Star Wars, something. Okay, go ahead.
So we recently purchased the 1977 mint number, which is the year Star Wars was released. And people put tremendous value in that. And it's also the only one that has that mint number. So it's a 1-of-1 essentially.
So how much is my Marvel Comics? No, that's the year. My mint number is pretty high.
And that's okay. And still, that comic is incredibly significant. It's the first Marvel Comics ever released as an NFT. It's the physical comic is incredibly scarce. So, what's another thing, Reggie, I'm really excited to talk about is, Marvel Comics #1, there's less than 70 copies on the CGC census. And it's very possible sometime in the future, they could all just go away.
Oh, they better
And there's
not.
A hypothetical.
I still have a dream of owning one. But continue with your thought.
Let's say it does happen and nobody has a chance to own one anymore. Well, this chance can continue. These NFTs have encapsulated that comic. So forever you have an opportunity to own it and it'll stay alive because of it.
Interesting. So as you think about the future, I think I know the answer to this, but I have to ask you, do you ever see NFTs replacing comics as a collectible? Or is this just part of the evolution of comics, right? Because I personally believe that comics will always be around, right? I mean, I think you'll have some loss to disaster or whatever, fire, whatever it happens to be. But I think physical comics, at least for my lifetime, better be around. But what do you see happening in the future with digital comics and physical comics?
I think there's this incredible connection. And actually, there's a very, very popular word that people are using called phygital. And it's basically physical and digital collectible kind of together. And I think that there's comic books, there's going to be a lot of opportunity for that in the industry. And I don't think it's going to replace it. I don't. I just think there's just a great opportunity for both worlds to succeed. Another example, actually, on the Wax blockchain, there's another, they partner with a Funko. And they give the very first Funko NFTs, if you owned one, you were given a token which you can redeem and get a physical Funko. This right here.
WAXE. Yep.
Yeah. And there's only 999 of them. Yeah.
I own some of that actual crypto token. Yeah, because that's the foundation for certain things that may happen in the future. We'll see.
Yeah, that's great.
But you said there's only 999 of those out there. Yeah.
Yeah, it says right there, which Funko really hasn't been vocal about how many editions they've printed in the past. But with these wax and wax fidgetals, they're very vocal about it. And and I think it's a really big deal moving forward.
So to be part of the veve community, to get that do I just have to make up words? Because I've never heard fidgetal before. That is, I mean,
it's a new word. Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
It's a made up word.
Yeah, it is a made up word.
Yeah.
But people are continuing to just trying to find that connection.
Yeah.
And I think there's going to be a lot of opportunity.
And what's interesting is that Doug and I even had conversations early on about isolation, about doing something that was a I can't even say it. It's so made up. I can't even
Phygital.
that word, right?
Yeah,
we were thinking about doing something like that with isolation, where it's like it's an NFT, but then it's also a comic, right? So we were evaluating that as well. I just got so busy I couldn't really dig into it, but I think that there is something to it. The veve app, I think, is a fantastic app, right? I really do think that it's a good app. I own DC NFTs, but that were sold via DC through somebody. I can't remember who it was, but then I own most of my stuff directly through the veve app, which is a great app. So if people haven't accessed this thing, I definitely want to encourage people to at least check it out. I saw a few comments over there where people were like, I don't collect this kind of stuff. I don't invest in this kind of stuff. I get it. It's not for everybody, and that's okay. Just like comics, there's certain comics I don't like, right? But we should at least, and you, Sean, you please tell me if you agree with this, even if we don't agree with it, or if we're not into it, we should not be ignorant of it. We should have some understanding of it, because maybe at a point in the future, we will get interested. So Sean, thoughts on physical comic guys being open and receptive to digital collectibles, NFTs, cryptocurrency, et cetera, et cetera?
Absolutely. And I totally agree. And there's a huge new community of collectors that you're pushing away if you just really kind of just, it's really important that you keep an open mind and just learn a little bit more about it. And again, if it's not for you, that's okay. But don't put it down and don't shun it, because there's a lot of people who are really passionate, excited about the space that are truly real collectors, and they're very excited about the future of the space and also the physical space too.
Yep. And I think that's the good thing is potentially these people that could be shunned might actually become collectors at some point, and may actually, right? Because I mean, you could have a bunch of young guys that get into the digital veve stuff that 10 years from now, 15 years from now, maybe like, well, can I get the physical version of this? Right. You just don't know. So it never hurts to, again, expose oneself and to expose oneself to other things. And also just to experience what's out there, because you don't know what the future holds. Sean, as we get ready to wrap up here, brother, where can people get more information on Comics and Crypto podcast, and also you, if they want to follow you on the social media, where can they find you?
Absolutely. So we're at Comics and Crypto. We're on Instagram, Twitter. We live on Twitter a lot, but also our website, comicsandcrypto.io. And yeah, feel free to reach out anytime. If you have any questions at all, we would happy to talk to you about this space all day. So very excited.
So the first time that I met Sean, people, I was on a work call. I think it was on a work call. And he said, I think you said something like, I enjoy your YouTube channel. And I was
yeah.
No. I was like, oh no, who is this guy? I don't even think I could see you at the time. I don't even think we were on video. And I was like, what just happened? My two worlds just collided. It's like Comics and Crypto just collided. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But then we met face to face. We did a really cool video shoot. Your team did a fantastic job. The production value was incredibly high, but that was where my two worlds, my professional world and my private world, became intertwined, almost like a fidgetal. They became intertwined. It was fantastic for me that day.
Yeah, same. I've been such a big fan of your channel for so long, and I saw you pop up in the media. Like, oh, okay.
He has a job. Sean, it is good to see you, brother. Thank you for everything. I appreciate you coming on to help us to understand VV, NFTs, and cryptocurrency a little bit better. I have a feeling that there's probably a lot of more questions out there, so we may have to have you come back on to spend a little bit more time educating us. But thank you to you and your co-hosts.
Thank you so much, Reggie. Thank you, everybody.
Care. All right. So Sean is definitely a good guy, super professional guy. I've been meaning to get him on the show for the longest time. And I just never followed up for whatever reason, but I'm glad that when I finally reached out to him this most recent time, he was like, let's do it. And so it's always cool when you have an opportunity to bring somebody on that has some knowledge of this community, but also understands other things and can kind of help us to find that meeting point between what we understand, what we love, and this thing that could be a little foreign. And again, some of these topics that we spoke about, investing, that kind of stuff, NFTs, some of that is actually covered in the guide to smart comic collecting, available on regiecollects.com. It is 88 pages of some good stuff. Actually, a couple of more than that, but my bio doesn't really count. So, all right, with that said, we are going to go ahead and transition. I have another guest. That is waiting in the green room that is going to come on and talk with me about some really cool stuff that we are working on. And we do have a little bit of an announcement, so I hope folks will stick around for that. I want to welcome to the show, Delia. Delia, how are you?
Good. How are you, Reggie?
I am doing well. It is good to see you again, Delia.
Good to see you too. Good to be back.
It is good. Yeah. So up until this point, Delia, you have worked on every single cover A for Isolation that we've done. Issue 1, issue 2, and now issue 3. So I wanted to have you come on. And I want you to talk, Delia, just a little bit about cover 3. What were you thinking when you created this? Who is this character that we are seeing? How does issue 3 connect in any way, shape, or form to issue 1 and 2? Talk about it, Delia.
Okay. Oh, one at a time. There are many questions. The character himself, I don't think I can talk about because
you can
he's
say
a new
it. It's okay.
For issue 3. So he is the father of the little girl from issue 2. I believe Grey Wolf is his name.
Yep.
He is, from my understanding, the leader of that group of people who live in the mountains around Isolation. I don't know how much more I can say.
If you read issue 2, there was some tragic things that happened in that issue, and it spills over from issue 2 into issue 3. You didn't do the interior for issue 3, We had that done by Chase, but you did do the cover, and it honestly is gorgeous. It really is. And in my mind, it's kind of sort of reminiscent again of issue 1 and 2. But do you want to talk about the connective tissue between the 3 covers that you've done for us?
Sure. So obviously there's kind of a trend in reflections in all of the covers. This one kind of brought, I feel like, the 2 covers from 1 and 2 together. So we've got in the first one a focus on a hand and an axe, which was supposed to be like an 80s horror movie cover. In the second one, it was a close-up of a face, which I just thought would be fun, kind of reminiscent of some other covers that have been out there that I really like. And then this one, originally I had him pre-fight sneaking, and it was kind of a calmer, more stealthy noir image. And then Doug goes, we want more blood. And I'm like, okay. So time to redesign. So I was like, blood, I can do blood, sure. So the vibe that I wanted for this one was less aggressive, fighty, more protective, angry, because of the context of the situation that is presented in the 3rd issue. So he is looking to protect instead of to attack. That's kind of what, the vibe that I wanted.
He does all over the place in issue 3. So I can't wait for people to
Quite
see
well.
issue 3. Would you say quite well?
Quite well. Yes.
Yeah. Issue 3 is incredible, but the cover really is fantastic. I actually need to reach out to Doug to have him send this cover to me, because I think I get to keep this one, because the cover is just, it really is amazing. You did a really good job on this. I'm curious, before we transition into the other topic, how much time did you spend on this? Because I know you typically take several days to do these pieces. How many days did you spend on this one?
Well, for covers, as a general rule, I like to give myself a week. If I finish it before that, fine. If I am getting too close to the week, then I gave myself a week. That's kind of what it is. So I don't really have like an hour measurement, because I was working on this at the same time as I was working on another commission for D&D pieces. But yeah, I'd say, yeah, I think I said like 7 days. It was like 7 or 8 days.
I'm sorry, I cut you off. Please continue your thought.
Oh no, you're fine. You're fine. Between the layouts, because I back and forth with Doug on this one a little bit. Like I said, I started out with something different, and then he was like, well, how about something more like this? And I was like, okay, yeah, we'll go with that. And then I did a few different ideas for that. And then the pencils, and then the color, I always do a color rough, because I want to make sure that it's the mood that we want to convey.
Right.
So then that comes next. And then the pencils are already done at that point, because the color rough is done over the pencils. And so then I just start in on painting. I usually start with the heavy blacks first, and then I go in and I do color over that. And it's kind of a multi-layered, it's like watercolor pencil, and then it's watercolor, and then it's these like really saturated ink pens that are water soluble that I use to get the really, really bright colors. So
it's incredible.
And then more watercolor over that.
I will tell you, Scott's actually mad at you right now.
Oh, no, why?
So Scott is our production guy. For people that don't know, Scott has to do 3 different masks for this. And
because of all the black sections. Oh, I'm so sorry.
Because of all the hair. And he's like, Reggie, I'm trying to get this cover done, but I need to get the hair. And I'm like, do what you do, right? I mean, if you spend a week on it, he probably spent a couple of days trying to get it right, because he wanted to make sure that what was supposed to be matte was actually matte. So he had to really refine and brush through all of the individual hair strands in Grey Wolf's ponytail, right? So
I was thinking that as I was drawing it too. I was like, oh no, Scott's gonna have to mask this. And sorry, Scott.
First world problems.
Also,
first world problems. That's the sacrifice that we make, right? We did also learn something, Delia. We
Mm,
released this to the printer, and the
okay.
printer and I and Scott have been having some back and forth about the UV coating that gets applied. And so we may have to make some adjustments to the bottom edge of his shirt to kind of feather him into the black so as to prevent a print error from happening like we had
Oh
last time.
no.
So this is an indie. We're an indie company. We learn as we go sometimes. So fingers crossed that we are able to keep this thing moving forward in a timely manner, because the goal is to release this in March, and I think that we will hit that mark. So well done on this cover. The other
Thank you.
reason why I wanted to have you on, Delia, is because you heard about our Kickstarter. You heard about the Kickstarter and you came to the rescue. You have donated a couple of original art sketches slash paintings for us. I want to throw these up on screen and maybe have you talk a little bit about who's shown, and just a little bit maybe about the dimensions and what you were thinking about when you created these individual pieces. Is that fair?
Sure.
I've been
Yeah.
I've been the master of multi-part questions tonight. So I want to check in. All right, so let's throw the first one up. This is the first one. There we go.
Yes. So you know her, you love her. It's Mandy from issue 1, day 1. Queen of the comic. She's great. I love her. I knew when I wanted to do this, I was thinking, okay, I'm gonna do I think like 3, and lucky for me, we have 3 great ladies who lead this thing, and I love drawing women, so I was like, I'm gonna take advantage of this, and so yeah, so we've got Mandy Connors up here, looking awesome, carrying her maps, and I
How,
think.
how big is this? Because I don't have them yet because they're still in the mail. How big are each one of these sketches that you've donated for us?
They're 7 by 10.
7 by 10. Okay.
So they are traditional, kind of like, for me, I either do 7 by 10 or 9 by 12 for my convention sketch pages. 7 by 10 is nice because it's not too big. You can usually find a good frame for it. That's what I like about those. So these are usually what I do kind of for conventions. And if somebody came up to my table and was like, hey, can you draw this character for me? And I was like, I can do that easy. So this is River. She's from issue 2. She is I just enjoy her design, so I really wanted to draw her. I think she's my favorite. It's a tie between her and Alexandra, who's the other one that you're going to show. But
The colors are fantastic, and the
thank
costume, the
you.
uniform, just fantastic.
I wanted to pull in from her cover from issue 2 as well, the same colors. So I was going with kind of the cool blues, teals, greens vibe for her.
There we go. And so the very last sketch painting that you have donated for our Kickstarter is this one right here.
Alexandra. Yep. I love a redhead. That's just the bottom line right there. I might be biased because my natural hair color is red. But I love a redhead in comics. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
I would not. I've only met you face to face
You've
once,
only known me with dyed hair.
but I think I've seen you like 5 times. No, more than that. Like maybe 10 times. It's always colored, some color. So I had no clue. I had no clue. But for
Yeah.
those people that are interested, these are 3 7 by 10 hand-drawn, hand-painted sketches, original art from Delia Gunderson that are available on regiecollects.com. I think packages like LMNOP. I don't know. We're way down the list. But fingers crossed folks are interested, because Delia is trying to help us to continue raising funds for issue 3. Oh, we just revealed the name. I don't know if we were supposed to do that. Blame the publisher. Blame the publisher.
I asked Doug, sort of. I was like, "Oh, I'm been spelling this name wrong because I'm a dummy." Even though I read the scripts, her name has a K in it. It's ALEKSAN, like Alec and then Sandra. And I was like, "Okay, I'm gonna write the names on the piece." And he was like, "Great." And so I just figured I could say the name. Sorry if I wasn't supposed to.
I'm the one that was like, "Hey, name them off," right? So, well, whatever. But Delia,
I didn't say the last name. So
Yeah, Delia, I want to thank you for donating these pieces. They really are incredible. I think they should be here in like another day or so. So fingers crossed that people buy them. I will immediately turn around and start shipping them out. But I really do appreciate your contribution to what we're trying to do here. The very last thing, Delia, I understand
yes.
that you're going to be doing a signing event. Do you want to talk a little bit about this signing event, the where and the when?
Yeah. So the signing event is going to be at Dewey's Comic City in Dover, New Jersey. And that is the comic shop that is attached to the Kubert School up here in New Jersey. It is Doug's favorite place to frequent, so now you know where to find the writer. And yeah, I happen to know the owner, so I pulled some strings and got a table and make it sound fancier than it is because I went to the school, so
It's all
not
good.
that hard.
It's a great signing event, man. What are you talking about?
Yeah, it's March 4th, so not this Saturday, but the Saturday after, right after my birthday. So I'm super psyched. And it's from 1 to 3. Yeah.
1 to 3.
March 4th from 1 to 3.
Happy early birthday.
Thank
What are
you.
you going to be doing at this table? You're going to be signing, you're going to be sketching, you're going to be painting. What are you going to be doing at the table? Run it down.
I mean, I can bring my sketch stuff, sure. I can draw commissions if you guys are interested. We're gonna have basically issue 2 there. And 1. You can bring some 1 if people are behind. And we'll be doing signing. It'll be me and Doug, by the way, not just me. So we'll be signing and maybe I can do a markup or something of the character on the cover if you guys are interested. Yeah.
That's
kind
cool.
of just come and hang out and chat.
There you go. No secrets will be revealed. However, if you happen to show up, all the secrets that we could have revealed, well, we shouldn't have revealed the one we did today, but it is what it is. I blame Doug. Anything goes wrong, I just blame Doug. That's how I roll.
Yep. It's Doug's fault.
Delia, I appreciate you coming on. Dewey's in Dover, New Jersey, March 4th from 1 to 3. Delia Gunderson and some writer, Doug, will be on site signing, meeting people, maybe doing some sketches, some remarks, that kind of stuff. I encourage you guys to check it out if you can. And then again, wonderful sketches on regiecollects.com from Delia. Where can people get a hold of you on the social media, Delia, to throw you a follow?
Okay. It is at @Delia Marie is my Instagram. So hit me up there. I'm actually, if it's okay with you, Reggie, I'd like to be able to post the images of the stuff that'll be on the Kickstarter that I did.
For it.
So people can
Absolutely.
get like close-ups and stuff.
Yeah.
Awesome.
You know
so
me.
you can
You know me. As soon as I say it publicly, go after it. Just get after it.
Awesome.
Again, Delia, I absolutely appreciate you. Fingers crossed that we are able to do issue 4 with the way that Kickstarter for issue 3 is going. I have a feeling that we'll be able to do issue 4. Fingers crossed that we can keep the magic rolling. I don't know. Maybe at some point, if we do issue 4, issue 5, issue 6, maybe you show us your real hair color. Maybe you go show us the red. What do you think?
Well, maybe. I mean, I'm taking a trip to Texas to my family, and my hairdresser's there, and he's asking me what color next. So we'll see.
Delia, it is good to see you. Thank you for coming on. I appreciate you.
Good to see you too, Reggie. Always a pleasure. I'll talk to you later.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
All right. So there we go. Kickstarter is going on right now. Definitely want to thank all of the creators that have donated things. Doug has donated some things. Those went incredibly well. Chase has donated some things. And now Delia, it means a lot when people are giving of themselves to allow us to keep this ball rolling. So I definitely appreciate each one of those people that have contributed to the magic that we are trying to make. All right. What is that? Seth, you are funny. All right. She was very non-committal. There was no commitment to be had there. I had to take shot on goal. Once I found out she was a redhead, I was like, well, let's ask the question and see what could happen. But Doug, good luck with the signing event. If you or Delia need anything for that, just let me know and I will try to make some magic happen. All right. So one last thing that I want to hip you guys to, and we're not going to go into great detail on this because of the time right now, but The Venom 3 movie is starting pre-production. This was announced earlier by Tom Hardy. He made it known on the social media that they are in the pre-production phase. At the moment, we don't know anything about this script. We don't know what the theme is going to be. There's a lot of speculation, a lot of people saying maybe it will be a crossover event of some kind with Venom and Morbius, and maybe Venom and Spider-Man. Who knows what it's going to be, but it seems like things are moving forward, which I do not think is a bad thing, especially when so many things right now are being placed on holds or pushed back for a variety of reasons. So again, maybe Venom 3 is going to move forward on schedule. All right, let me go to the chat real quick and see if I have missed anything. It better not be a musical, brother. That the Joker 2 has me a little worried. I'll be honest with you. I struggle watching Joker 1 with all of the mental illness. I don't do well with certain things, and mental illness is one of them. But I also struggle with musicals. So I don't know what to make of the musical. I really don't. It'll be interesting to see how it all plays out. Scrolling through some of the comments here, singing love songs next to Null, says man. I hope not, brother. It appears that maybe Null is going to be coming to the MCU. That was one of the rumors, a variant of Kang. That was something that I spoke about in a reel or a short somewhere recently. We will see what happens with that. I also understand that based upon some things happen where Venom got pulled into the MCU, there is a placeholder, if you will, in some ways, for the symbiote to be in the MCU. So it'll be interesting to see how they pull that thread, because it's my understanding that Tom Hardy's last movie as Venom will be this part 3, and they are insinuating that he is then going to step aside, and then maybe the MCU will run with the symbiote after that in some way, shape, or form, which could be Secret Wars, Avengers Secret Wars at some point down the line. Who knows what is all going to happen, but it will be very interesting to see. All right. With that said, we're going to wrap this thing up. I definitely want to encourage you guys, if you need to reach out to me on social media, specifically on Instagram. I am always available to you. Shout out to all of the Blue Wrenches. Thank you for your help. Shout out to the Patreon members for supporting me through Patreon. Thanks to everyone that has picked up something from regiecollects.com to help us keep the Kickstarter going so that we can actually release Isolation. And I promise you, there will be some additional Isolation announcements forthcoming, so stay tuned for that. Take care.
My body ate itself until it found its passion. They got fat while we starved, but it's power in fasting. Until I turn to ashes, I remain stoic through my rap heroics. I painted 10,000 poems, then I drank the potion of poetry and motion. I started choking, it was potent. My throat chakra downloaded, knowledge hungry. I was embarrassed I could ask my parents for money when I had a full tummy. So I asked for wisdom, better than crypto, sweeter than honey. I don't take it for granted, I don't wear capes and masks.